Hey YouTube, my name's Andy. I started CHI HydroClean this year. I'm in South Central Pennsylvania. And I want to do a quick rundown of my power washing setup that I built myself. Pretty much started with a small machine from Home Depot with a AAA pump. Of course, it didn't last very long at all. Low pressure, low gallon a minute. I was like 4,000 psi at 3.5 gallon a minute. But after doing my bucket test and weighing that and doing all the math, I was putting out like 3,600 psi off the pressure gauge, and I was only doing about at best 3.1, maybe three gallon a minute. So it was definitely not something that was going to last a long time, but did what I had to do until the pump finally went. So I started, or I changed that, and I got a new machine, and I thought I'd just give a quick rundown of what I come up with on my truck, and maybe it might get somebody else interested or help somebody else out. So here we go. All right, first of all, my truck is a 2014 Ram 2500 crew cab with a 6 foot 4 bed. So I didn't have a whole ton of room to squeeze everything in. I don't have a dedicated soft wash, but just by using various tips and stuff like that, I think I've overcome that. So, but for now, it works really well. It's pretty much a basic setup. I'll start off with a machine over here. It's a Honda GX 390, mounted on an aluminum plate with rubber isolators. That's bolted down through the bed of the truck. Kind of see back the side there a little bit. So, and then it's running a Landa pump. This machine is doing tested numbers. I'm doing 4,000 psi at 4 gallon a minute, and it's a major improvement. I'm using Landa guns, just your basic stubby Landa gun, set up with swivels. Of course, my tips and things like that are in there. But I built this first of all around the motor, basically set the motor in there to get my sizing and different things like that. Just built out of regular wood. Since this season is pretty much R&D, I didn't really go too crazy with like using aluminum angle or welding anything up or anything like that. So tried to make it look nice the best I could, so it looks somewhat professional. So I kind of took my time and, cut my plywood platform so it curved with the bed of the truck all the way around, and just try to overall make it look decent. I have a 60-gallon Chaplin poly tank from Tractor Supply. I'm sorry, not Chaplin. Chapin is the brand of it. But up here, this is where my Hudson float valve is at. Quick connect hose runs around. I'll show you that here in a minute, how I have that set up as a manifold to be able to easily switch between, running directly off the house spigot versus the buffer tank. Got my wands here, just kind of, this was an extension cord wrap. The little hook on it went bad on me, so I just kind of screwed it there, and that's how I have there. Picked up the ladder racks, ladder rack from Harbor Freight. Got them on sale. It was like 99 bucks. And then with the Insider's Track membership, I was able to get like 20% off of that, so it was a pretty decent deal. So, but yeah, and I have my downstream injector bucket gas can up there. I have few chemicals and stuff like that, but I keep my main chemicals like all my SH and my surfactant and a few dedicated specialty spray bottles and stuff in this tote. I really want to work on getting a tank for my SH and stuff, but as you can see, I don't have a whole lot of room, so I got to just keep going and getting the 1 gallon jugs. And it's a pain. It's not perfect, but it works. So over on this side, as you can see, My hose reels, of course, like I said, I was on a budget, so I had to do what I could do. But my hose reels are Gorilla hose reels from Home Depot. I got them for like 89 bucks a piece. They did have handles that came up here and over across. I just didn't put them on when I assembled it. And I got one for my garden hose and then my high pressure line. And they work really good. A couple downfalls is they don't, like when I start walking out with a hose to hook up, they like to free spool, and but I just walk a little slower and kind of minimize that anyways. They don't have a lock or anything to keep them from unspooling when I'm going down the road. So here I just drilled a hole, 1/4-inch hole in the handle, and there was already a bolt hole here for the handle that came with the machine, or the hose reel, I'm sorry. So I just took some spring pins off of my tractor and put them in there, and that keeps that locked in tight, and I don't have no issues with them unrolling while I'm going down the road. I just drilled a little hole here for if I need to put my hose end down in there or something like that so it don't flop around. Did the same thing over here on my high pressure line. Just use this here. It seems to work really well. I got a ball valve on here. It's a general pump ball valve. I did have one with a big handle on it, and it was just really clunky and getting in the way, and it was heavier, and it didn't work out very well. I didn't really like it. I mean, it worked, but it was just not very easy to use. So I went with the ball valve, and this is like a major improvement. I'd highly recommend the ball valve versus one with the big long handle on it. Makes it a lot easier. Of course, I got quick connects on everything. And since to address the issue of not having a high pressure hose reel, I have 150 feet of high pressure line on this reel. So what I do, and since obviously I can't use the connections on a garden hose reel for high pressure, so I just kind of took them, minimized what fittings were on there, and I just took them off. So basically when I show up, I roll everything out, and then I roll off what I think I need from the line. And then back here on the machine, I had a little whip, a little 5-foot whip that I had made up, and that hooks up to my pump with my pressure gauge on it. It runs up and around, you can see there, it goes right back. So what I do is when I roll out my hose reel, my high pressure line to whatever I think I need, and then I just grab this, pull this out, connect here, and then it just kind of sits here on the tailgate, and I go from there. And then when I'm all done, roll everything up, just disconnect, and then this just slides right back in and sets right there. This little line right here is my drain line for the pump, and then this line here is the oil drain line for the motor itself. So when I change the oil or service it or anything like that. I had some plastic bins sitting around my shop, so I use that. So that's what I put all my trigger guns in. I got my nozzles and stuff down in there that I use. And I think that's kind of the main part where my tank setup is. I just used the fender well as a support point, so it would hold some of the weight. And I built this this framework here to set my tank on. And then underneath that, I have my 100 feet of garden hose, and another 50 feet of high pressure line, and a toolbox with various fittings, tools, things like that I might need if I need to make a repair. So then just a small tote that holds some, some odds and ends stuff. I got some oil from there. I got my surface cleaner. Then I use a lot of this LA's Awesome Cleaner. Stuff works great, by the way, for aluminum, really well. So definitely recommend that. Definitely pay attention to the dilution rates on the bottle itself. You don't want to run it too hot because it will definitely start to take the paint and fade the paint pretty quick on gutters and fascia and things like that. So, and then I have just a cheap Ryobi telescoping wand that I got from Home Depot when I got a machine years ago. I did change the hose on it from the Parker store. I got just a light duty high PSI line and crimped fittings on that, put that on a quick connect, and that works really well. I think that goes out to, it's either 16 or 18 feet. So it works really well. It serves purpose for if I'm doing gutters or trying to reach fascia or anything like that. And I have, of course, the pump up spray bottle up there for pre-treating and post-treating and things like that. So it's pretty much how I have everything built. I'll give a quick rundown on the plumbing. This is my feed line here that obviously comes from, that I hook up to the spigot on the house. That comes in and I just put a splitter on here like this. And this black line here runs directly down through the hole and then over underneath this platform here and hooks directly to, with a quick connect, to the machine, the power washer. This line here comes across, or comes down around this way to a T, and then I have it coming across to a shut off, and then I'll go around here and you can see where it runs. It comes across from, that's that T, or the T is up there, shut off, and then it runs down to 5/8 poly braid line. Comes up and around through the ladder rack, and then I have it to a 10-foot chunk of Flexzilla garden hose. And I use that for, like, rinsing buckets, washing my hands, rinsing guns, just general purpose stuff like that. Oh, and here is my brush that I use for, like, scrubbing gutters, things like that. That goes out, I think, 14, 15, 16 feet, something like that. It works really well. And I got that at Home Depot also. I think it's Unger is the brand of it, but I'm not 100% sure. But back to this, like I said, this goes down around, goes that way to that hose reel that hose that's hanging off the back of the truck with a shut off. And then I have shut offs on here also on this Y. So if I want to, this one here stays open mostly all the time. I have a shot right now because I was cleaning my filters, but this one stays open all the time, and then this one stays open all the time. So when it comes through here, it'll come down and then go over and back to my hose, but I have a shut off here where this line comes around and goes up around. You can kind of see it, focus up around to that black hose right there. And then that goes into my tank. So basically, if I want to run off of the house with direct pressure from the hose spigot, everything is open and it works just the way I have it set up. But if I'm on a well or something, I don't have a lot of a lot of volume there, I need to use the tank. What I do is I just shut this shut off, which is the direct line to the pump itself, which is the main hookup, and then I turn that shut off on, and then my water will divert and go down around by the tank. And then I just pop off my direct line with a quick connect, pop on the hose or the line coming off of the tank, and then I'm running off the tank. So it's pretty simple. I mean, it works well for me. I know there's definitely easier ways probably to do it, but works for me. And then I'll show you how I have the tank run. Like I said, it's a 60-gallon poly tank. It's just hooked up with an elbow, with a poly elbow, down into an unlined filter, which has a 60 mesh screen on it, and then come across to a shut off, and then it runs across right into my machine. So like I said, this is running off of the house. This is my main line for running off of the house. And then if I want to go up and around and come down around, I just pop that one off and then pop this one on, and then I can run it right off of the tank. Eventually what I want to do is I'm thinking I want to put a Y on here, run both of these in there, and then that way all I got to do is just switch shutoffs. I don't actually have to do any manual disconnects and reconnects. I'll do another video on how I hooked up my Hudson float valve to my tank. It actually worked out really well. So if you're looking for a decent buffer tank, the Hudson float valve works awesome with this brand of tank from Rural King. I think I might have said Tractor Supply earlier in the video, but actually it's from Rural King. So I'll do another video on that and show you kind of more in detail of how that all hooks up. I just have a little breather valve off of there because my old machine, I'm using it as a breather valve now, right there, that little gray fitting. I did have that hooked up to an external unloader off my old machine, which it worked okay, but it was just, its setup wasn't very good. So, yeah, so if you have any questions, give me a shout out in the comments, and I'll try to answer as quick and as best as I can. Like I said, it's nothing great and grand, and and these 15, 20,000, even probably more expensive trailer setups and stuff, but it works really well. It's small, it's compact, it's easy to get into tight neighborhoods, it's easy to park. It just works really well, this setup for me. So all right, I hope to maybe get some comments on it. This is my first video for my channel, so definitely trying to upload some more videos of me in action, doing some houses, spraying some houses and things like that. And hope to talk to you through the comments. Thanks.